Where Hawaii Eats is presented by the Honolulu Star-Advertiser's Dining Out, Outrigger Waikiki Hotels and Resorts, and Sysco Hawaii. Aloha and welcome to Where Hawaii Eats. I'm your host, Ann Lee, and today Chef Matt Young from Duke's Waikiki is going to be preparing this big hunk of meat. Prime rib, correct?
Prime rib. So this is from Double R Ranch in Wyoming. Really high quality, really nice meat.
How do you know what to choose?
We like to find something that's got a really nice fat content in it that's going to keep that prime rib really melt in your mouth, juicy after it's roasted.
So do you think that you should purchase more of a fattier meat or leaner?
I think fat's your friend.
Fat's your friend. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get started.
Cool. So we're going to make the rub for the prime rib. So we're going to start with a little bit of the Hawaiian salt, and if you want to start mixing up the rub, you can go in this mixing bowl right here.
If we don't have Hawaiian salt, what is the alternative?
Kosher salt is fine.
Kosher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably not iodines though, because it's a little salty.
Is that enough salt?
A little bit more. And then a little bit of garlic.
How many prime ribs do you think you guys sell at the restaurant?
Well, we always say while it lasts, but we usually do probably about 25 or 30 a night.
A night?
Yeah. That should be good.
What was that?
And then we got a little bit of parsley.
Is prime rib your #1 seller?
It's up there. We sell probably more fish than anything down at the restaurant. But yeah, the prime rib is definitely something that we're known for and been on all of our restaurants menus for most of our restaurant menus for a really long time. We've got a little dried rosemary, a little dried thyme.
And that hula pie, how did it get that name?
Hula pie. God, I wish I knew the answer to that.
You know the ice cream pie that's enormous? It's like as big as this prime rib?
Absolutely. It was created at Kimo's restaurant a long time ago. Kimo's famous hula pie. But you know what? I don't know how it actually got its name.
That's your homework.
I will figure that out. I will get back to you.
How much?
We got a little bit of bay leaves.
1, 2?
1 is plenty.
Okay.
And then secret ingredient.
And what do we?
Seasoning salt.
We got to preheat the oven.
Yes. So the oven's preheated to 500.
500.
So we're gonna throw the meat in there, and we're gonna really sear it really hard to get it nice and dark and golden brown. And then we're gonna maybe like a teaspoon of that.
A teaspoon. I don't have a teaspoon. Can I just? I'm just gonna eye it.
Just eyeball it.
Because you know, can I use this?
And we like to marinate or rub our prime ribs a day before, so we get a full 24 hours on the rub. If you did it maybe an hour before, 2 hours before, it's fine. But the longer you leave that thing on there, the better it's going to taste. So we're just going to cover the whole piece of meat
with this.
With that.
So when you prep it a day ahead, do you leave it in the refrigerator?
Yeah, refrigerate it overnight.
Overnight.
With the rub on it in some sort of baking dish or pan, and it'll kind of start a little bit of curing and really let that seasoning penetrate the meat. And I'll get my hands dirty so you don't have to.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And
and just rub it all over and really try and cover the meat really well.
So when you prep it the day ahead, do you cover it with aluminum foil?
Yeah, just cover it with plastic wrap.
Plastic wrap, okay.
Let it hang out. So that is it. Wow. This is ready to go in the oven.
Okay. And how long do we cook it for?
So we're gonna do 500 for 20 minutes just to get that really nice sear on it. And then after that, it depends on how big of a piece of meat you're gonna put in there. So we usually say probably about 15 minutes a pound or so.
What do you guys serve the prime rib with?
So we're serving it with mashed potatoes, and we've got a seasonal vegetable that changes all the time. We've got broccolini with us today. So should we pull out the finished product?
Let's take a look at the finished product. The magic of television.
Here we go. We've got one that we roasted off already.
And this was how long in there?
This was in the oven for the 20-minute sear, and then about an hour and a half at 225 degrees.
225.
So slow and low.
Slow and low.
That's going to get that nice, even cooking all the way through. And obviously, you can cook it longer if you like. Yes. So we'll get a nice piece.
I'm going to eat this.
Of prime.
Now, I've made prime rib before and it didn't come out this color. What's the trick to getting it like this?
That's slow and low cooking.
Slow and low.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Searing it real quick to get the crust, and then slow and low.
So now you want to serve it with some mashed potatoes.
Yeah. Grab a spoon.
Let's plate it. I'm gonna grab a fork and a knife. I'm not gonna stop this episode without tasting a bite of this.
Absolutely. Little mashed potatoes.
How did you make the mashed potatoes?
Salt, pepper, butter, cream, and a little bit of sour cream.
Nice. All fat-free, right?
All fat-free.
Okay.
Cut up a couple pieces.
I'm gonna feed you a bite.
All right, here we go. Good.
Good? Do you have to let it rest when you take it out of the oven?
Absolutely. Let it rest for a good 20 or 30 minutes. Let those juices really seal in.
That's really good.
Thank you.
The flavor's crispy on the outside. It's juicy. It's not chewy at all. It's like melts in your mouth. Very good. Thank you so much for coming and doing the show. Look at this amazing backdrop. This is where you get to work 5 days a week?
5 days a week, maybe more sometimes, but yeah, it's not a bad place to call office. We're open for breakfast 7 days a week, starting at 7 a.m. with our breakfast buffet, and then lunch until 3, and then we're opening up the dining room at 4 o'clock.
Chef Alan, out of all the restaurants that you wanted to dine at, why Murphy's Bar and Grill?
Well, Don and Marianne Murphy, they give back to the community so much. They're very generous with their time. You know, we're in a time where, you know, we have to support our restaurants, okay? That's why I chose Murphy's.
Going back to all of the things that you've done, I've always noticed, like on your menu, you've always cultivated something from every ethnicity here in Hawaii, and it stems from the plantation days, and you've shared that story with me. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I think it's important for all of the staff, you know, for the younger people, to understand Hawaii's history. So as a training tool, we take all the new employees out to this place in Waipahu next to the sugar mill called Hawaii Plantation Village. 66% of the local people are Chinese, Japanese, or Filipino. Then you got the Koreans, Okinawans, the Portuguese, and the Puerto Ricans. These are all the different cooking methods and techniques. Well, I incorporated history. You know, what happened in Hawaii? So the history of Hawaii is important because it gives the cooks a foundation to work off of. And I tell them, you know, hey, be proud of your heritage. Be proud of who you are, you know, no matter what nationality, and cook that way.
48 years in the industry. You've had 48 amazing years. What do you feel was that aha moment for you? What types of things did you learn or you were able to share or cultivate?
Well, I started as a dishwasher, right? Way back in 1972 at Down the Beachcomber restaurant. And so I cannot give you one aha moment. There were many. There were many people that influenced me and helped me. There were like many moments that, you know, you like, oh wow. Like for example, I was teaching school at KCC. I opened the Diamond Head campus and we were doing a demonstration on French emulsions, like a vinaigrette. So this one girl comes to me and she says, my student, my mom gave you some pickled mango. Cute, eh? So she gives me the pickled mango, the blender's right here, we're in this lesson, you get all the ingredients, and so I said, let me throw that in a blender. So I made pickled mango vinaigrette, and it came out really good. So I thought, if you can take something as local as pickled mango, what else local can you turn into a French-style emulsified vinaigrette? So trust me, I tried everything, okay? Even Kalua pig went inside there one time. By the way, no work, okay? But in that aha moment, it was, hey, if you take local ingredients, pickled mango, turn that into something French, what else can we do? So that began that, yeah? I think I'm gonna have to say that the Canoe House restaurant at the Maunalani Bay Hotel, that's where I was first told, hey, Alan, just cook. Okay, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, just cook. So I was given the freedom. And so I think it was at that time, that was in 1989 when I opened it, that it created the style that I would be continuing to work on my craft working in, because at that time it had no label.
So going back to 1989, and you had pretty much carte blanche on how you wanted to cultivate your menu, do you feel that that's when you became Alan Wong? When did you feel that you were Alan Wong?
And I was always Alan Wong. So I always say, and I used to tell the cooks this, humility is important to me. Be humble. You always want to be on the good side of a review. It's good for the restaurant to get awards and recognition. And when the restaurant receives some kind of recognition, I tell everybody, listen, there is a reason why I'm telling you guys to do this way. So we do certain things a certain way. This is how we do it. This is why we do it. This is why we buy this ingredient. And so now some people look at me like I'm mad, but there's a method to this madness, right? And so it validates everything that we taught everybody.
So going back to the teaching, if you look at all of the people that have worked, your team, all of your team that have grown from working with you and have established themselves and have wonderful restaurants here, they always have the same consistent message, which is really supporting the local farmers. Why is that so important to you?
Number one, I love Hawaii. And I always felt that, we got to leave this place better than when we first got into it. The word here is sustainability. So these are the next chefs, the next farmers. And so it's important to teach them.
I would like you to try your dish. What did you order?
We're at Murph's, Irish, corned beef.
That's a beautiful piece of corned beef.
It's beautiful. Your salad looks great too.
This is gorgeous.
And for me growing up, this is a luxury, because for me growing up, my corned beef, if I had corned beef, came out of the can.
So with the closure of South King Street, your flagship, now you have lots of time. And I know you're not going to retire. So what's on the horizon for you?
I think it's like a pause, looking for a better day, as I said. I'm always curious. It's about evolution. It's about growth. It's about change. I always used to tell the people too, the staff, when life knocks you down, you get up, and you get up right away. You get up right away and you make a change so that the same thing doesn't happen to you again. So when you combine that with, being curious and wanting to grow and evolve, I love to create things. I mean, that's one of my passions, to create. And the second passion is to teach that.
There was a couple of different things that you offered on the menu during the pandemic, and it was comfort foods. And there was a traditional beef stew that you made, and you shared that with me, that it was one of the best sellers. What other comfort foods did you make?
When we pivoted to takeout, it was an aha moment. The best seller was the beef stew. All I asked everybody was, you want the wet red tomato kind, which I like, it's a local style beef stew for me, or you want the thick brown Western style kind. So they said the thick brown one. And that was the best seller, along with things like pork watercress soup, poi stew, done the old fashioned way. Not too many people do it that way. It had tons of poi inside, which is healthy. And a seafood chowder. Those are the best sellers.
So comfort food provided by Alan Wong, I can see why that would sell out.
That beef stew had no frills, no twists. It was beef stew. And so I was thinking, okay, everyone's in this certain mode, and it's about getting back to what's comfortable, comfort food.
Even with the pandemic happening right now, there's a lot of restaurants opening. And what would you say about this next generation of restaurants and chefs?
I'm really proud of the successes of our alumni. When you think about who's out there, we got Corey Chow, who came from the California Culinary Academy. Now he's the executive chef of Per Se, one of Thomas Keller's restaurants in New York City. Jonathan Mizukami, who was in the Thomas Keller group, is now the executive chef at the Kahala. Then MW, Lance, Michelle and Wade, they're doing great. Lance is an executive chef. There's Gary out there, and Jon Matsubura has his own restaurant. So I'm really proud of all of their accomplishments and successes. You know, there are still restaurants opening. Another alumni, Kiaka Lee, is opening next month. And hats off, I give them credit. You know, it's a tough time. They're going to have to navigate through some different circumstances. And I think this show is really, really good and important because it gives publicity. It gives everybody an idea of, you know, the restaurants around town. And, you know, the message is go out and support your local restaurants.
Today we are sitting with the president of Sysco Hawaii, Jason Wong.
Hey, Ann.
Hi, Jason.
How are you doing today?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So this, where we are right now, it's more than a commercial kitchen. It's called your Business Resource Center. Tell me how that was kind of created.
Yep, so with Sysco, every one of our operating sites, and we have about 76 around the U.S., has this beautiful test kitchen and business resource center. And what it's meant to be is a gathering place for our customers, our restaurant operators, food service operators, to come and learn, and we can share experience. Chef Jackie, who's a Hawaii Hall of Fame chef, is our executive chef here. Our customers can come in and do menu engineering, test out new plates, new ideas, new products.
So as a Sysco customer, if they want to utilize a space, how do they get more information?
They just got to ask their rep and
Okay.
say, hey, I'd love to come in, but our sales team is always asking them, would you like to come in for a review? We can help your business, look at your menu, anything to help them in their day-to-day business. There are so many things that Sysco can bring to the table through business resources. It's access to, it can be something to computer programs for point of sale. It really runs the gamut because what we're really interested in at Sysco with our business resource centers, how to make our customers' business better. So it's not just about selling them another bottle of ketchup, right? Because we know if we can help our customers be stronger, it's going to be a stronger partnership over the long term.
Welcome to Where Hawaii Eats. Today we're at Sysco Hawaii's Business Resource Center. Today we're also joined with Chef Jon Matsubura, owner and chef at Feast. Thank you, Chef, for joining us today.
Thank you.
What did you create for us?
Well, today we have the Feast lobster roll, which has large chunks of lobster meat and a special umami mayo that we make with all these products from Sysco, and it's so convenient to get all like the sweet bread and all the different ingredients for this great dish. By far our most popular dish at the restaurant.
So what type of sweetbread is that?
It's King's Hawaiian, it has a local palate, so it is a little bit sweet, and we toast it with butter. So it gets really nice and toasty on the outside, but still warm and soft on the inside. It has that familiar flavor that everyone is used to. So it's a great vehicle for this lobster roll.
So this is on your menu.
This is on my menu.
And you had mentioned that this is the most popular item by far that sells out.
Yes.
So how do you know how much to prep?
Well, it's trial and error. So the first time I made it, I made about 50. I didn't want to run, I don't want to make too much. It's an expensive product. And then we ran out of that in half an hour, so then I made 200, and we ran out of that. So I kept going up and higher and higher and higher. So on the weekends, sometimes when it's really busy, we sell almost 300.
What is the retail price on this at the
This is
restaurant?
$21.
$21.
Yeah, you get about almost 4 ounces, like 3.5 to 4 ounces of lobster meat. And we just do very little to it and let the ingredients shine. That's why people love it. It's one of the best deals in town. Yeah, so you have some lemon, you can squirt some lemon on top of that. There's some fresh dill. Voila, there you go.
So, Chef, you've had a pretty incredible culinary journey in Hawaii. There's been many restaurants that you've been a part of that I've actually eaten at, followed your career. What got you into this industry? Because you got to be crazy to be in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, I think most of us are a little crazy to be in this industry,
In a
but
good way.
it's a labor of love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a labor of love. So I said I have to turn the tables and do something that's really important and something that I'm passionate about. And so that's when I started to, after my first year at law school, I came back, applied for Alan Wong's and Roy's. But of course I didn't have any experience and I didn't go to culinary school. So I said, what does it take to get in? And they told me you can wash dishes.
But you also, when you were washing dishes at Chef Alan and Chef Roy's, you also asked to, and you created your own little culinary school.
Right, so I mean, yes, I was willing to do whatever it takes to get into the culinary scene or to get into the best restaurants. But you know, for me, it was if I'm going to wash dishes, I made a deal with the chef that said, hey, you know, I'm going to come in early 4 hours ahead of time on my own time and learn all the saucier work. And so I would come in for my shift, learn all the sauces. You know, it was fascinating. It was just like an incredible new world for me, and I got to absorb all this, and then I'd bang out some dishes. So to me, it was a fair trade.
So I'm curious about the name Feast. How did you come up with a name for your restaurant?
The restaurant, because I opened up a bunch of restaurants and worked at a lot of places. It was important that we create a space that we could do everything from fast casual food to high-end wine dinner pairings, working man's food. So we wanted to create this kitchen where we could do everything we wanted to do. And that's where the name Feast came from. And then the pandemic hit, which changed everything. It turned our world upside down. So we really had to focus. Instead of doing 30% takeout, now we're doing 100% takeout. And we got hit really, really hard. And we were lucky that we had vendors like Sysco that supported us through that pandemic and helped us through it. But also focusing on the takeout, we had to sort of change our business model and pivot. And this is one of the things that came out of the pandemic, was that we wanted to create cravings and we wanted to create comfort food. And normally a lobster roll would cost way more than $21. So we wanted to create something that was fast, casual. You could treat yourself once in a while too. It wouldn't break the bank.
So where is it located?
We're located in Manoa Valley. It's beautiful up there. 2970 East Manoa Road.
And Chef Jon, thank you so much for sitting with me, talking story, and sharing this amazing lobster roll.
You're welcome.
Let's finish it.
Where Hawaii Eats is presented by the Honolulu Star-Advertiser's Dining Out, Outrigger Waikiki Hotels and Resorts, and Sysco Hawaii.